Hey there, TZ here with Technological Gadgets, bringing you the best in tech and making work for you. On this channel, we sometimes do tech reviews, but other times, we check out other people's setups. And apparently, this time around, we're going to be checking out Nolan Molt from Think Media and his sort of work from home sort of YouTube desk setup. So if that interests you, make sure to drop me a like to let me know, and comment down below what other videos like me to check out next, and I'll be sure to do so. Also, if you haven't already, be sure to subscribe to this channel. And yeah, without further ado, let's get right into the video.
The best part about my desk setup is I can sit down and from my seat, I can turn on the camera, I can turn on my key light with the press of a button, and I can start live streaming or shooting YouTube content
cool.
right away. I've also done some really cool things like connecting my podcast microphone to my camera, so when I live stream, nothing's out of sync, everything is just tied up right away. And if I'm shooting YouTube videos, I don't have to sync the audio to the camera later in post. There's a ton more of these little gadgets and hacks that I use to save myself time and space so that I can shoot down in my small home office and just start making content.
Oh, and it's also good since it's compact.
Let's go ahead and get started with the desk.
Most of us don't really have a lot of space.
The actual desk that I got was a standing desk, and it's actually the cheapest standing desk on Amazon. I think I got it for around $200 at the time.
Wow,
right now
that's not bad.
$260, so there might be a cheaper option out there. But I've had this thing for over a year, and I love being able to stand up and sit down during the day. Now, the top that I have is nothing special. It's like a $30 desktop from IKEA. Definitely something I want to replace over time so that it's a bit sturdier and stronger, especially with all this expensive gear. That is something I want to upgrade next. Now, on top of my desk, I have this dark wooden desk shelf, and I really like the color and the dimension that it brings to my desk setup. Now, this only costs $60 on Amazon, but they do sell out really fast, so check the link down below. Make sure it's still available if you want to pick one up. They do go fast, but they do get restocked as well. On top of that, we have the Kanto YU2 speakers, and I love the sound that I get from these.
Okay, these are pretty good ones.
$270, but for me, when I'm editing videos all day and creating content and listening to stuff, I don't want to have headphones over my ears the entire day because then my ears get tired, and so having some really nice speakers
that makes sense.
were really important for me, and I absolutely love these. Now, the computer mouse that I decided to go with was the Logitech MX Master 3, and I absolutely love this mouse.
Really good for productivity.
Originally, I was using just the Magic Mouse from Apple. My hands started to cramp up a lot during long edits, and so I went with this, and it definitely helped because it just shapes my hand a bit better, and there's tons of customizable buttons. So I found when I'm editing inside of Final Cut Pro, I can edit a lot faster because of some of the buttons on the mouse. And of course, I have a little Star Wars mouse pad underneath because I just love Star Wars, and I think this thing was like $7 on Amazon.
It's a nice contrast to like the white setup, I guess.
4 or 5 years ago, so this thing has been around for a long time.
Black setup and space gray, I guess.
Now, on the back of the desk, we do have this monitor mount, which is holding my monitor as well as my laptop. Eventually, I do want to go with a dual monitor setup, but this really works perfectly, and you only need one monitor, and you basically get 2 monitors with the laptop. So I really like this setup right now. It's been working perfectly for me. Now, the computer that I'm using that I do all of my work off of is the MacBook Pro with the M1 Max chip. This is the 16-inch version, 2021, and I absolutely love this computer. I can edit all of my footage and have some really complex timelines, and this thing just does a great job of dealing with all of it. It never slows me down. This thing is just an absolute beast. Now, from my laptop, I do have a docking station, which is the CalDigit TS3, and this allows me to connect a bunch of accessories.
I recommend him to upgrade to the TS4, to be honest.
That is attached to this computer is through this TS3. And I also found some really cheap brackets so that I could actually mount this underneath my desk,
pretty smart.
That was a really nice find. Now, the CalDigit is out of stock right now, so we're going to leave a link
to it's pretty heavy, like 3M might not work, I think.
In stock, check the links in the description. The monitor that I'm using for this setup is a ViewSonic 32-inch 4K monitor, and I really like it. It doesn't have the same exact colors that I noticed on my 16-inch beautiful Retina display MacBook Pro, but it does the job, and it really is a great monitor. I do wish the monitor was a little bit brighter. Behind my desk, you can see I have these windows, and so sometimes it can be a little tricky because it's so bright outside, but overall, I do like this monitor, and we're going to leave a link to the newer version because this one they don't make anymore. On the back of the monitors,
that's
I have
kinda sad.
these Govee light
I guess
bars,
he's
and
just
it's really
reusing
cool
what
because they
he
can change
uses.
colors, and I can control it with my Google Home, so I can just turn them on and off really easily. Now, on top of the monitor, we have this really cool piece of tech. It's a top light, and it is for my desk because I didn't want to have
one of those
a
monitor
actual
light
lamp
bars.
on my desk.
I actually do
but
have
I did
one,
need
but
some
mine
lights
is a
so I could
smaller
write
one for
things
the
down,
laptop.
or I could work from my desk at nighttime, and this thing just works perfectly.
Yes,
I love
it
the
helps a
minimal
lot.
design and how the light actually doesn't shine on the monitor, so it just kind of lays on the actual desk itself. And then it has this wireless remote, which is super cool.
Oh,
super
that's nice
easy
as
to
well.
use, and it just kind of feels futuristic. And I love having this control knob for my light.
Control
on
it
my desk. Now,
anywhere
when it comes to
from
the
your desk.
microphone that
That's nice.
I'm using the Samsung Q9U, which is a $120
I heard that this
microphone,
microphone
and
is
then I have it on
not
this heavy-duty
very good,
podcast
from what I
arm,
know.
and I absolutely love this microphone. Before that, I was using the Samsung Q2U, but this one just looks so much
think that
better, and
microphone is better than
absolutely
this,
love the
if I'm not
sound that I
mistaken.
get from it. Now, this is a USB and XLR microphone. So previously, I was
Okay,
going
okay.
USB-C straight into my computer, and that worked perfectly, but I wanted to experiment with running an XLR out to my camera so that it would be completely synced to my camera. Now, in order to do that, I did get
Okay.
a right angle XLR adapter, and this one was only a
You could
foot
plug it into
long.
his
I
MacBook
definitely
as
should have
well
got
and use
a
it as like
6 foot
a
long cable. I
backup,
just
you
didn't.
know.
So that's something I'm
Like
going
backup.
to upgrade, and I'll leave a link to that below as well. Now, at the end of the XLR, you are going to want to convert that to go into your camera. And so I have this converter from Comica, and I actually picked it up for $36, and it's on sale right now for $36. Usually it is around $50, but this thing's awesome. This thing is a converter and a preamp, so you can control the volume, and you also can plug in headphones if you want to listen back to hear how it sounds while
I recommend an audio
I did want
interface,
this
to be
preamp
honest.
to be close to me so I could turn it up and down or turn it on and off, and so I did need to get an extender to go to the camera, and so that is just your basic 3.5 millimeter audio cable extension cable, something like that. Now, the camera I'm using on my desk is the Sony a7 IV. This really is
This is an
beast of a
insane camera.
And one of the reasons I wanted to use this for my webcam is
like the
because you can
A7
go straight
III,
from
but
USB-C
with
to
more
your
megapixels.
computer and stream in 1080
For photos.
HD at 30 frames per second or 60 frames per second. The lens I'm using on this camera is a
Actually,
Tamron
what I'll
7.
recommend is him to pick up the Elgato Cam Link instead, to so that he can use the HDMI port, and instead of getting like 1080p 60, he can get like 4K 30, or even like a more powerful capture card like the, if I'm not wrong, there's one that Elgato sells, that is the square one for like consoles that support 4K 60. He could use that, and I think this camera can output 4K 60 to that, so his streams can not only look really smooth but really high quality as well as like his videos.
17 to 28
But that's what I recommend,
2.8
personally.
lens, and then I have a power adapter going in there, so I never have to replace battery. 17 to 28. The lens I'm using on this camera is a Tamron 17 to 28 f2.8
okay, that's a
lens,
pretty good
and then
focal
I have
length.
a power adapter going in there, so I never have to replace batteries. This thing is just plugged into a wall, and it's always on, or I could turn it off if I want to, but I never have to replace the batteries. Like I mentioned, the USB-C can be used to actually do live streaming, so you don't need to do anything with the HDMI out on this camera. So you need to make sure
that's
that
true
you get the right
though.
USB-C cable. I'm gonna leave that link down below. If you don't get the right one, it probably just won't
Yeah,
work.
you
It's not
need-
gonna connect to your computer, or you're only gonna be able to live stream in 720p. And so if you get the right one,
you need
are
a
gonna have
USB
all the options where
3.2
you
and
can live stream
a,
in
like, a
1080
right
up to
angle
60
one.
frames per second. And you also want to use the one that I linked down below, because you want that 90-degree cable. If you don't do this, then basically you're going to cover up a lot of your screen, and you're not going to be able to see your audio levels, and you need to see your audio levels when you're filming. So if you get that cable, then you perfectly can see your screen and still use the camera without using an extra monitor. And I love this setup because I can just turn on the camera and instantly start filming my content, or I can start live streaming. And speaking of live streaming, this video is actually brought to you by StreamYard, which is what we use at Think Media. We even have of the light. I have this camera desk mount, so it just connects to the back
that's
of
nice.
the desk, and I love this.
Yeah, she has one as well for this
We don't have a lot
camera.
of room in a small office to place
Yep.
a tripod for lights and cameras.
You're
and
basically
microphones.
using your
this
table
makes it
as a
really
tripod,
easy
which
to
is
keep the camera
convenient.
exactly where I want without having to set up an actual tripod. This just attaches right to the back of the desk. And then on top of the stand, I have a ball head where I can move the camera around and
that's
get it
smart.
nice and
That is
level.
really
and this
smart.
also has a quick release plate, so it's really easy for
That
me
is
to take
one
the
thing
camera off and
that I
take it
need to get
wherever where
as
I
well.
want to go, and then I can just snap it right back in. Now for the key light that I'm using for
and then all your other products also have the quick release mount, so you can just mount it and mount off, you know, and it's just insane. Just plug out the cables, mount it and mount off. And
desk setup. I'm using the Godox ES45
okay.
I picked up this light for $120, but sometimes you can find it between $120 to $140. But it does come with that desk mount, so it is literally
that's actually quite nice as well.
Kind of a setup where you can put it on the
desk.
It's a
you can cheaper version of the Elgato key light, I guess.
Then you have this
something
wireless
like
remote control where you can turn it on
this is
or
really
turn it
nice.
off. You can also adjust the brightness, or
you can control it from anywhere on your desk. You can have it sit beside your desk.
Controller, and I love how easy it was to set up, and I love that I can just turn it on and turn it off right from my desk, so I don't have to get up. And having the actual controller come off the back of the light is so clutch, because sometimes it's just hard to see, and having it right in front of you on your desk so you don't have to get up and move is really, really nice. Now on the light, I do have this diffuser, and this wasn't actually made for this light, but it works perfectly. Basically, this is just turning this light into a big softbox so that the light is much softer and it just looks a lot better. Like I said, it wasn't meant for this kind of a light, so I kind of had to get a little funky with how I attach the Velcro, but it works just fine. I've been using this for months. I love the look that I get from it. I love the soft lighting I get from it, and it hasn't fallen off or anything like that. It is sturdy. It is good to go. It just looks a little funky from behind. If you guys like this video, then you're gonna love this video. Click on the screen and watch Kyle's desk setup. It is legendary. I'll see you guys in the next one.
Yep. So that is basically his whole entire like setup itself. And yeah, let me take a look at his whole entire setup itself again. See how his setup looks. Find a good angle for his setup. Good. Okay, I think this is a good shot of his setup. Okay, so what I would recommend him to improve on is firstly get the Elgato capture card that I mentioned, the one for consoles, if you can, so that you can plug your camera into this, and then after that from the capture card plug it into your computer and use it as like a as instead of a 1080p 60 frames per second capture card, he can use it as a so-called 4K 60 frames per second capture card. So not only is the image way more crisper, for editing, he can crop it and stuff like that without losing quality, but also make it as smooth as what he is recording at. And also I would recommend, instead of getting the converter, is to get like an actual audio interface. So the audio interface would something like an audio interface would give your microphone more power, and just overall have more flexibility in that sense. And then you can just from the headphone port connect it to your camera and it should work basically the same. Also I would recommend you to of course get a pair of headphones or earbuds. I think he's using the AirPods Pro right here, so that's pretty nice. And for the keyboard, I would recommend him to get maybe like a mechanical keyboard, as that is much more smoother and like better to type on, especially since I think he's typing a lot. He could get that could work a lot better. And for the monitor as well, if he has the money, I would really recommend him to get the Apple, like the really high-end Apple Pro Display XDR. And for the microphone, I recommend him to get something better, as from what I know, the Samsung Q9U is not really a really good thing for its price. And maybe like a charging stand for his AirPods Pro and his iPhone as well. But yeah, and also maybe the light, he could change it into an actual softbox, with a much bigger diffusion ring, so this way there's much better videos. But yeah, that is basically what I would recommend. And what I think he could do, you know, to make his setup even better. But you know, what do you personally think about his setup? You know, let me know down in the comment section below, and you know, let me know what changes would you make to his setup, and you know, how your setup looks like, especially, you know, if you film or if you stream from a setup. But you know, anyways, you know, drop a like if you like these types of videos. You know, subscribe if you haven't already. It helps support me and what I do completely for free. Last but not least, you know, thank you all so much for staying tuned to the end, and you know, watching me ramble about his setup. But yeah, and I hope to see you in the next video or live stream.